Hello. Today is February 7th, year 2025. We've survived up to that point, and we've had a marvelous new Chinese Lunar New Year. And today's blog post is called Dramatic Evolvement to Upside Downdraft. And those who know me know that I've had an enthusiasm for nonsensical phrases and word salads long before Kamala Harris was vice president. And today's topics are everything from Adam Rosenzweig to Zodiac, and in between, Energy Information Administration, EIA, Bitcoin, Andrei Martyanov, he's an author, artificial intelligence or AI, French language, glyphosate, Mark Sloboda, peak oil, Permian Basin, sound money, Stephanie, Senef, StickSix and Hammer 666, and Zcash, ZEC, which some people may call, I'll just call it an S coin to be polite. And there are a lot of sources, and I like providing the links to them on my website, jamesleguerre.com. Are the Trump tariffs about to collapse multiple countries? Capital COSM? You're not distracted. You're focused on other things. China's DeepSeek, a balanced overview. Cold fusion, AI, artificial intelligence. Zodiac, a new lunisolar year. So the lunisolar year is it's not a fixed number of lunar months. They have, you could call them leap years. They include an extra month, sometimes even 2 extra months. It kind of depends on what lunisolar year you're talking about, but they do adjust it, and they calculate the date changes when compared to the Gregorian calendar. Zodiac, it ties into Lunar New Year. The beginning of a new lunisolar year is based on lunar calendars, or properly called lunisolar calendars. Typically, both types of calendar begin with a new moon, but whilst a lunar calendar year has a fixed number, usually 12, of lunar months, lunisolar calendars have a variable number of lunar months, resetting the count periodically to resynchronize with the solar year. Typically, the new year of a purely lunar calendar is determined by the first new moon after the end of a cycle of 12 lunar months. And the purely lunar calendar ignores the solar cycle. The new year of a lunisolar calendar is typically determined by the first, second, or even third new moon after the winter solstice or after an equinox. Lunisolar New Year celebrations in East and Central Asia, such as Chinese New Year, are based on a lunisolar calendar. Chinese New Year usually falls on the second new moon after the winter solstice, rarely the third if an intercalary month intervenes. The Chinese calendar and how to calculate Chinese New Year. A staggering 2 billion people use the Chinese calendar. The ancient system dates to the 14th century BCE. That's before the current era, and records astronomy beyond a purely solar calendar. 12 complete lunar cycles, and at times leap years, where 13 months fall in a year, roughly once every 3 years. The purpose of the leap year is to realign the calendar with the seasons. As a general rule, 7 leap months are added across a 19-year period by the Human Origin Project. The Chinese calendar dates to the 14th century BCE. To fully understand, we must look at the solar cycle, lunar phases, and zodiac astrology. The Chinese zodiac is a traditional classification scheme based on the Chinese calendar that assigns an animal and its reputed attributes to each year in a repeating 12-year cycle. How the lunar calendar works. According to the lunar calendar, the first day of each month takes place when the moon moves into a position directly between Earth and the sun. Phases of the moon. As the moon moves around the Earth, we see different parts of the near side of the moon illuminated by the sun. This causes the changes in the shape of the moon that we notice on a regular basis, called the phases of the moon. Observing the moon from Earth, we see a sequence of phases as the side facing us goes from completely darkened to completely illuminated, and back again once every 29.5 days. The sun's shadow prevents us from seeing the moon here on Earth. When Earth is between the sun and the moon, we see a full moon, which signifies the middle of the month. The moon then wanes towards the end of the month until the next cycle starts again. The lunar calendar, which also has 12 months, is only 354 or 355 days. In a year with a leap month, the lunar calendar will have 13 months instead of 12. Lunar New Year calendar. Dates, festivities, and traditions by Sophie Song. Last updated on September 27, 2024. Hindu, 354 lunar days in 12 months. The Hindu calendar, also called Panchanga, is an ancient time reckoning system used for, among other things, determining the dates of Hindu festivals. It is a lunisolar calendar with many regional variations. It takes into account the apparent movements of both the moon and the sun, as seen from Earth. In most areas in northern India, the month starts on the full moon, while most people in southern India count the days of the month from one new moon to the next. The Hindu calendar, Panchanga, by Konstantin Bikos. The Hindu texts used the lunar cycle for setting months and days, but the solar cycle to set the complete year. The system is similar to the Jewish and Babylonian ancient calendars, creating the same challenge of accounting for the mismatch between the nearly 354 lunar days in 12 months versus over 365 solar days in a year. Hindu calendar, Wikipedia. Metonic cycle or Ennead Decathlon, enduring legacy of the Metonic cycle in modern timekeeping. The Metonic cycle or Ennead Decathlon from ancient Greek is a period of almost exactly 19 years, after which the lunar phases recur at the same time of the year.